draft physics video. I don't know what I'll get into actually. I'm just going to start with this time dilation stuff and relativity, and maybe that's all I'll deal with in this video, but we'll see. So Pyrrho's left a couple of comments that I'll read, and typical vacuous, we have math, we know what we're doing, blah blah blah. And I think it's just all kind of rubbish. So I'm going to go back to the scenario of you're moving half the speed of light in a direction and you shine light forward of you, which means the light, if you could see the beam of the laser, so to speak, and you could calculate the difference between how fast that beam was moving. The argument I would make is the beam cannot leave you at the speed of light. It has to leave you at half the speed of light. So even though you're moving, you shine the light just can't escape you because there's the rules. I mean, if I make it out of buses and say I've got a bus going 60 miles an hour and then I shoot something ahead that's independent, let's say it's going 80 miles an hour, I'm only going to see it going 20 miles an hour. I mean, that's just the way it is. Can't change that. It can only leave me at 20 miles an hour. It can't leave me at 80 miles an hour if I'm going 60. And the same is true for light. And so they say time dilation fixes this. And I played along with that, but it really doesn't, because the amount of dilation will never equal enough dilation to make up the difference for half the speed of light. You would have to be incredibly dilated, and you're obviously not, because as we're talking about this subject of throwing something perpendicular to yourself at half the speed of light, we have no expectation that time breaks down so substantially that you don't even see the light go past or something. So, I mean, what got me thinking about this is the fact that they have these two scenarios. So, in the scenario one, where the light's shot forward, they claim time dilation makes the light look like it's still going the speed of light. So they're making something going away slower look faster. And then, when they're shooting perpendicularly, where the argument is the light has to be going faster because it's moving diagonally into the future, and now they're saying time dilation makes it look like it's going slower. I mean, they're exactly opposite effects from exactly the same dilation. You're going half the speed of light. It's the same dilation. And yet somehow it makes slow photons go fast, and it makes fast photons go slow. Obvious contradiction. Alright, so this whole thing blows up entirely now in terms of Pyrrho's admission. So let's have a flatbed spaceship. Okay, no two sides. It's just a flatbed spaceship. You're wearing magnetic boots. You're stuck to the spaceship, so no problem. And so, you're sitting there stuck to the spaceship, and you're going to move half the speed of light, okay, in a direction. Simple enough. And now you're going to throw two things. You're going to do two things. You're going to turn on a photon emitter, and you're going to throw a wrench. Okay, that away. Let's make it straight line. You're going to throw it that away, perpendicular. Alright, and so you're going to throw the wrench at, I don't know, it doesn't matter, 90 miles an hour. And you're going to shoot the photons. Now, by their theory, both of these objects have momentum in two directions. They're both going half the speed of light this way, and this one will leave at the speed of light, and this one will leave at 90 miles an hour. And what they're arguing is, I don't care what your time dilation crap is, okay, it doesn't really matter how you time dilate this. Everybody knows that if this guy isn't the one shooting the wrench, we know the wrench is going to leave, it's going to do it's going to do the requirements of physics, which is it's going to go this way 90 miles an hour, it's going to go this way half the speed of light, and that means it's going to travel a perpendicular line. It's going to travel this triangle, this hypotenuse, which somehow, yes, I drew wrong. It should go all the way over to here. So anyway, so it's going to have the velocity of the ship and the velocity, the new velocity this way, and it's going to move in a diagonal line. That's going to mean it's going to have more velocity than it had previously had. It's going to have more than 90 miles per hour. I mean, it's going to have more than the speed of light moving this way. It's going to have the speed of light this way plus the component in the other direction, which is going to equal a faster speed. So we know when somebody catches it, it's going to have the speed as if it's going more than half the speed of light. It's going half the speed of light plus the component added by the other velocity. And that's the truth. And they have to make the same argument for this photon. It's going to have to do the same, it's going to be doing the same thing. It's going to go at the speed of light this way. It's going to go half the speed of light this way. And it's going to travel this longer distance at a faster speed. And so when these things go into space, they're both going this way, and they're both going to be going this way at a speed greater than half the speed of light, okay? And, you know, in the case of the wrench, and greater than the speed of light in the case of the photon. And how does time dilation change that reality? How does time dilation make this photon obey consistency rules, but doesn't make this obey them? And how have you not broken conservation of energy? Because the photons can't get fatter, they can't get bigger, they can't do anything. So all you've done is take away the energy of the movement, half the speed of light. You've said it exists when he's looking at it, but as soon as it's outside of his sight, all of a sudden now it's doing something different. You can't have it both ways. So this is, look, this is just based on some sort of, again, this is just Heisenberg 2. That's what relativity theories are. It's just Heisenberg 2. We just make up a statement about something that we can't actually do experiments for, and that way we can say anything we want, because you can't prove it's bullshit. And that's all that's going on here. But it's layered in bullshit. As I said, these contradictions are obvious. How does time dilation make slow light go faster and makes fast light go slower at the same frickin' time? How does it do that? Because all I have to do in this experiment now is shine a flashlight forward, and all of a sudden my time dilation will make that light look like it's going the speed of light, and at the same time it's making this fast light look like it's going slow. No, not even close to reasonable. So anyway, so I'll read the crappy comments. Stupid, ignorant, dumb, vacuous. So he posts 4 comments on one video. Okay, something I absolutely despise when people play this game. Watch the video and then post a comment. This commenting as you go along is just absolute bullshit. And you can sort of tell from the time codes, it's indication anyway, that, you know, 5 hours ago and then 6 hours ago. I mean, I guess it could be that it's a half-hour interval or something, but it's just bullshit. So anyway, the first comment. According to Einstein, the longer distance problem is solved by the time dilation. So again, the longer distance problem isn't just a longer distance problem. It's a light has to travel the longer distance in the same amount of time, which means it has to be going faster than the speed of light. And also space and mass distortion. Well, exactly how does space and mass distortion change photons? That would be interesting to understand. I don't think you can do that. Since time is going slower on the ship, so whatever time is, he's saying it's going slower. So he doesn't really believe what some people who understand relativity are saying, which is all the clocks are basically broken. Your internal clock, external, all clocks get broken by velocity. He's saying the clocks are working fine, and something called time is ticking different. And the only thing time is really based on is the constancy of the speed of light. I mean, there is no... The constancy of the migration of force through the universe is what time is. The time it takes force to move distance is the only thing time is based on. There's no other reference for time than the time it takes for any force to travel a distance, whether it's a magnetic force, photons, gravity, it doesn't matter. All those things take time for that process, the force involved, positive or negative, to get to the location. For the shadow created by this pen going in front of me, takes time for that effect to reach the camera. That's time. Time isn't something else. Time is how forces function. It's elemental to the function of a force. So anyway, so this is just such crap. Since time is going slower on the ship, according to the observer off the ship, so now we have the observer off the ship is the one claiming they're all moving slower, and the light itself is moving slower. So if the observer off the ship is seeing stuff moving slower, that is, it's seeing light move slower, then when this light goes off the front, when he shines the flashlight ahead, he must see the light not even get anywhere. Because, I mean, with no observer effect, no time dilation effect, the simple truth is if a truck passes, a truck going 60 miles an hour, and the truck passing is going 80 miles an hour, all you'll see is a 20 mile an hour difference. Whether you're in the truck that's just got passed, or whether you're an observer looking at it from the helicopter, you're still going to see only a 20 mile an hour difference between the two objects. So if the observer is seeing everything slowed down, well, that would mean that the 80 mile an hour truck is somehow moving away even slower than 20 miles an hour. Not faster than 20 miles an hour. See, again, it's just a direct contradiction. It's exactly opposite the effect for what they're claiming. Alright. According to the observer off the ship, time and space are warped such that each see the speed as c. So again, it's just this claim that somehow it's possible for everybody to see the speed of light be the speed of light. That is, the truck move away from the other truck at 80 miles an hour. Okay? So the other truck's only going 80 miles an hour. And yet somehow everybody's going to see that truck leave the truck it just passed going 80 miles an hour. Not 20, 80. Does that make any sense? Is that completely incomprehensibly, insipidly nonsensical? Yes, that's nonsensical because it's two forces. You're saying you're outrunning another force. How do you do that? How do you outrun a force with a mechanism? How do you make one force seem like it's going the speed of light when you didn't make the 60 mile an hour truck didn't get to go extra fast. It didn't get to go extra slow. So how can you make one go faster and you make the other one not do anything? They're both forces. They should be affected equally. They're both trucks. It's just bullshit. All right. Luckily, the math has been done. Yes, with a bunch of symbols. And everyone sees what they are supposed to according to Einstein's equations and general relativity. Well, again, that's just talk about your magnificent equations. And yes, I've looked up Einstein's math, and it's just too convoluted for me to follow, so I can't do much with it. But I argue I doubt it. I sincerely doubt that you have any equation that's going to fix this problem, that's going to make the wrench move slower or the light move faster. I mean slower. That's your only two choices. You either make the wrench move slower, and then you can make some excuse that, see, now the light's slower because the wrench is slower, or you're going to have to explain why the light's slower and the wrench isn't. Why the difference between these two? The wrench is composed of the same forces that are moving this light, so how come the wrench is obeying the rules and the light doesn't obey the rules? Convenience? Yes. Contrivance? Yes. But nothing to do with physics, or explaining the truth, or identifying a model of reality that has anything to do with being coherent, and consistent, and conservational. Alright, it doesn't matter, so next comment. So now he has to make a separate comment to say this tripe. Oh, well, this is a different subject, actually. It doesn't matter which way the laser is pointed, since the Earth rotates. So we're back on the laser experiment, and I pointed out how you have to do this experiment perpendicular. You have to do it north-south to the Earth's rotation. So it's just like the experiment inside moving the laser. If I shoot the laser forward, I won't see it bend. I have to shoot it perpendicular to see it fall behind. So it has to go perpendicular, north or south, to fall behind. It has to go this. You won't see the falling behind if you shoot the laser this way. You won't see it. So you have to make it visible. So yeah, you have to do the experiment north to south. Now he says he's done the Michelson-Morley experiment, and if he doesn't know that the real test is when you move it north to south, then it's hard for me to. I guess it was years ago and maybe forgot everything, but I'm just saying it's just one of the key ingredients to creating where you can measure the speed. So anyway, it's just wrong. So it says it will be rotating, so it goes into the velocity against it and to the side all throughout the 24-hour day. Well, it doesn't. It's really only going to be relevant when the two positions are reversed. So when left becomes right. So if this tip of the pen is left and the back is right, it's only when you're on, this way or this way do you change, do you have a perpendicular that's going the right way. So you have to be on the right two sides. When you're this way or this way, it's not going to tell you anything. Alright. Faster than c, solved by time dilation. So again, just a claim, that's the answer. So the wrench is going to be going faster, the light isn't. And the reason is time dilation. Time dilation knows how to knows that it treats wrenches different than it treats photons. I don't think so. You don't have to agree with it, but that's the answer. Well, I'm saying it's not a reasonable explanation of a theory of reality. It's flawed, it creates paradoxes, it creates incongruous circumstances that can't be resolved. Wrench going faster, photons not going faster. It's an unresolvable problem with your theory. Okay. My metaphor is time itself slows down for you. So he thinks time is something, that time isn't just a function of the migration of force through the universe. All the forces we know of move the speed of light. The nuclear force, the magnetic force, electricity is the same as photons and magnetism, really. Gravitons, really. And gravity. They all move the same speed. Generally speaking, that's agreed upon. There's some people have some sort of thing, like they're saying gravity is 0.0001% slower or some sort of nonsense like that. But I'm pretty sure that's nonsense. So what is this thing, this concept of time you're claiming exists, where the forces inside my body are somehow going to be doing something different than the forces a foot away from my body? How so? Not that you are sleeping through the moments. So again, he doesn't like this metaphor of time dilation being described as the dancing problem, where you're dancing as fast as you can. I ask you to move to your right while you're dancing, and then you end up dancing less well. You have fewer dance steps, but you have to waste them to move. You waste time moving. So your dance takes longer to complete. If you have 500 dance steps you have to complete, and I ask you to move left while you're doing them, you won't be able to complete your 500 in the same amount of time. Your eyes will blink slower, so to speak. Your consciousness will absorb reality at a slower frame rate, so it will miss a few frames. And that's the same, my metaphor for time dilation. And he rejects that and replaces it with some sort of "it slows down for you," whatever that means. How is the slowdown manifested besides in some retardation, some destruction of my perceptual absorption? My fingers hit the keys slower. How is it not manifested exactly as I described it, as if your signaling, your input-output mechanism is slower? Not that you are sleeping through moments. So he doesn't accept that something has to be given up, so to speak, to move right or left as you're dancing. That somehow your dancing doesn't have to have limited number of steps, that somehow you can get all the steps in, you just do them faster or something, by some magical mechanism. That you don't have to throw away some steps if you're going to complete the task in the same amount of time. The only way you can complete the task in the same amount of time is you have to get rid of something, you have to lose something. The only way you can do your time dilation, the only way you can age 100 years while somebody else ages 500 years, is for you not to experience some of the days of those years. Alright. So, there are no other comments relevant. So at least I've done that much. I've shut up the gallery. And so I guess that's an accomplishment. So yeah, I'm saying the more you scratch at this relativity theory, the more holes you find in it, just like these other experiments. Thought experiments are theoretical thought experiments. They're flawed and broken. This whole premise is, like I said, it's all just Heisenberg. It's all let's pretend the place where we can't see, the place where we can't do experiments, has extraordinarily bizarre happenings in it. So the places, all the places we can look, everything does things that are perfectly explainable in some sort of classical physical sense, and it's only where we go places we can't look, all of a sudden all the wacky crap is happening. And I smell something foul in that circumstance. Seems a little bit convenient. All the unicorns just happen to be on Invisible Island. Anyway, till next time.